Hello everyone, welcome to SwitchUp and to an episode live from Cologne, Germany. I hope that's how you say it, because we're at Gamescom. Now apologies for any audio issues, it's just the way it is, we're on a different microphone, sat in a little hotel room. We're going to have a look at the best games coming out, and it is a very good week, this one coming up, as well as just one game that's already out that we think's worth a mention. Also our website is back live, switchup.gg, where you can save 5%, you get that in cash back whenever you make a purchase. What are best games coming out? Well, let's find out. Well, this is exciting. Cheers to Gameloft, who have sponsored this episode with Disney Dreamlight Valley, which, although it's been out for a while on Switch, has received a ridiculous amount of free updates, adding in famous franchises like Toy Story, Mulan, and my personal favourite, Monsters Inc. And the roadmap also has a load of free content that's on the horizon. Now, if you're not aware of it, Disney Dreamlight Valley is basically a bit like a cozy life sim, but it has quite a deep storyline to it, where you find yourself on a journey to discover the source of what's known as the forgetting. You have to build up your friendships with a cast of Disney and Pixar characters, trying to help them uncover their lost memories, but also solving puzzles. If you missed it, this featured heavily in a recent all patched up episode. In fact, it was the centerpiece, and the reason being it is so improved since it first came out, not only from a performance standpoint, visuals, but as I say, the amount of content they've added in. New characters, biomes, quests, features, multiplayer. It is very chill to play, a great one just to relax with, but it also has a lot of depth. The quests I mentioned, you can spend ages decorating not only your house, but you can actually customize the world and place items within it. So we really do have to say a big thanks to Gameloft for sponsoring this episode, and to the developers for all of the work they've put into the game. I'll pop links in the description, the top pinned comment. I'll also pop a link to the all patched up episode that goes over absolutely everything you'll need to know about the updates.
Let's start with a game that's already out then we'll move on to the week at hand. We'll be going from the 24th of August up until the 30th, where the first game is Rewind or Die. This is a survival horror game with a retro feel to it, where you work in a video store. You'll need to deal with irate customers, horrible bosses, and keeping the store clean, as well as some creepy phone calls and someone watching you through the windows, and it's not long before said person starts to kill off your mates, and you'll need to survive. It promises a retro 90s setting, over-the-top gore and dark comedic elements, as well as full voice acting and multiple endings. As I mentioned, this one's already out and will sell for £10.79 or your regional equivalent.
Next up, we've got a game called Crypt Custodian. It's the second title from the same developer. I forget the name of his first game, but it was absolutely brilliant. Now, I am playing through this one at the moment for review. Obviously, I can't tell you if it's any good just yet until the embargo's up, but certainly keep your eye on it. Now, it launches at £17.99 on the 27th, and it's a Metroidvania, but it takes the view into a different perspective. So you have that top-down fixed perspective, and you work your way around in that way with fast-paced combat that feels a little bit more like we've had in some of the recent roguelites. It's just a 548 megabyte download. As I say, that one releases on the 27th at £17.99, and we will have a full review of that in due time.
As well as that, we've also got Witch Spring R this week, which is the second of the Witch Spring games on the Switch, I believe. Witch Spring 3, Refine is the other one. This calls itself a story-driven RPG with a unique gaming system, blending elements of simulation, item collection and adventure. I'd say that's not so unique myself, but what do I know? It goes on to say that you'll discover the perfect combination of fairy tale-like graphics and deep world building. And aside from all that, I believe that the other game on the Switch scored relatively well. If you like such games, it's going to sell for £35.99 when it releases on the 28th.
Next up, we've got the really interesting looking Gori, Cuddly, Carnage, featuring a cat, I think. And it's from Wide Productions, again launching at £17.99, but this time this one's got a demo, so if you want to go check this out, you can do it whenever you want. The blurb states that humanity's been destroyed, and it's up to Gori, along with his deadly but wisecracking sentient hoverboard Frank, and morose AI companion, to stay the evil, adorable army. I mean, it sounds like every other game ever, really. There's a big bad, and you've got to overcome it, this time as a cat. What this seems to do slightly differently, or not, is that it has a more adult theme in some of its weaponry choices. There are devastating combos that you can perform with a level system, and again, supposedly a very solid soundtrack. It's one that I would say I'll be checking out the demo of. It does actually look quite interesting, and Wired Productions tend to release quite good indie games on Switch. That's £17.99 for Gori, Cuddly, Carnage, and that releases on the 28th.
Also this week then we have Emio, the Smiling Man Famicom Detective Club. Now this caused a bit of a stir when the images first released online of just the shadowy antagonist, and it's since obviously become apparent it's not quite what some people expected, I think it's fair to say. But this is part of the Famicom Detective Club series, and in this one you'll be solving a murder of a high school student where a creepy clue recalls cold cases from the past and an urban legend about a killer with a disturbing modus operandi. Now, as much as some people may be disappointed, I'm actually quite looking forward to this one. I do love horror and anything horror related. To be honest, it was never going to be what some people thought, bearing in mind it was Nintendo publishing, but I'm quite interested to see how this one plays out. It is more point and click or visual novel, I guess, in terms of how the game will play, and there is a demo which I think is a good move. It's going to sell for £39.99 and releases on the 29th.
Next up then, we've got the highly anticipated by fans of the mecha genre Gundam Breaker 4 from Bandai Namco. Now, they had an online test of this a few weeks ago. It is shaping up quite nicely, but we will be bringing you a full review. This one launches in about 3 different flavours, ranging from 50 quid all the way up to about 100. Do you need any of that? Well, I'll let you be the judge of that. There are 250 different base kits that you can use to customise yourself, changing the paint, the liveries, all that good stuff. But the main brunt of it is the battling, where you take your custom Gunpla into various intense combat missions. And as I say, we will bring you a full review so you can see our take on it and if it's actually worth considering. That one releases on the 29th.
We also have Valfaris Mecha Therion, which is a sequel to the original Valfaris, which is also on the Switch and was a very good game. This though seems to take the series in a different direction, going on to be more of a horizontal shooter, whereas that first game was more of a side-scrolling run and gun. And this one has more of a 2.5D style as opposed to the 2D pixel side-scrolling action of the first. It says here, after escaping Valfaris, Therion's hunt for the evil lord has taken him across the galaxy. As the final inevitable showdown looms, Therion harnesses the awesome combat ability of his secret weapon, the Mecha Therion. So yeah, they've really gone big on the story there, haven't they? But that's all you need, I suppose. I'm looking forward to this one, and we will be reviewing it. It's out on the 29th and will cost £16.50 or your regional equivalent.
Next up, we've got Monster Jam Showdown from Milestone. A series that we've seen in many iterations on different platforms over the years, but we've got the latest one coming to Switch on the 29th. Now, the blurb is pretty basic. It says Master Iconic Trucks, with all of the real-life Monster Jam events being available, and it also includes icons from the franchise like Gravedigger and El Toro Loco, who I've never heard of, but you know, I'm sure fans will be absolutely loving that information. It has off-road sections as well, arcade racing, and there's also freestyle where you get to try out different tricks, as well as a career mode that actually has its own non-linear adventure, supposedly. So perhaps a little more to this one than first meets the eye. It does come out in 2 flavours, as is the standard these days. There's the standard £44.99 version and a $59.99 Big Air edition. That launches on the 29th.
The penultimate game for the week then is Shadow of the Ninja Reborn. This is a remake of a side-scrolling platformer that first released back in 1990 on the NES in some regions. It came to the EU in 91, I believe, and it has a very similar style by the looks of it in terms of this remake to another remake on the Switch which is the Ninja Savior, which was a remake of the Ninja Warriors. All gets very confusing, so many ninjas. You can play with up to 2 players as you could do in the original, and there are 6 stages to make your way through. It mentions that the remake also features Iku Mizutani, the composer who helped create the iconic Natsume sound and renowned tracks for various NES games. I'm looking forward to this one. I do love it when they remake classic platformers from the past. It's another one out on the 29th. It does have a demo, by the way, if you want to give it a try, and it will sell for £17.99.
Alright, the final game then is Umamusume Pretty Derby Party Dash. Yeah, that sounds awesome, doesn't it? It's a party action game set within that universe, and it must be a known universe. Not one known by me, I have to say. Where there are 4 different teams vying for the gold medal with the Slapdash Grand Prix. There are 4 different events: hurtling hurdles, blazing baskets, dodgeball demolition, and gourmet gauntlet that you'll have to work your way through. And I have to be honest, there's far too much of the word wacky in this description. History has taught me that when they use that word, it's never wacky. It's just boring. But let's find out, I guess. There are a couple of different versions. The base at $39.99 and the special edition at $49.99. It's beginning to sound like I don't like those special editions, and that would be absolutely right. That one releases on the 30th of August.
So that's another week of Nintendo Switch releases. I will just say, Mark, that I can think of one exception when the use of the word wacky was absolutely fine, and that's Timmy Mallett's Whackaday. Nothing silly about that show, that's for sure. Don't forget, if you're looking to pick any of these games up or anything else, of course, as Mark said, you can use our website, switchup.gg, to get your eShop cards, and you'll get yourself 5% back in cashback. And as Mark also said, we are at Gamescom this week, and chances are there will be some stealth drops that can't be in this video, but they'll be in next week's, I'm sure. A quick thank you to our patrons and our channel members for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.